Hey, and welcome back to another episode of the Charlotte Content Marketing Podcast. My name is Andrew Rusnak, and I'm the founder of Charlotte Content Marketing, and I'm thrilled that you are here today. We've got a lot of exciting stuff going on, and I really do wish that I could do more of these. I'd love to be able to do this like every day, but I just don't have the time. We've been like super busy, which is awesome. We've got a lot of really cool stuff going on. We're doing some things behind the scenes with some agency partnerships, and that's really cool because that's going to open up a lot more opportunities for our clients to get some really cool content. So, we're really excited about that. But speaking of content, so today what I want to chat about is so with content marketing, we talk about developing content, we talk about content strategy, and we talk about how all of this content comes together and how meaningful and impactful it is and stuff, which is true. And that's part of it. But so what do you do once you have some content? Where does it go? What do you do with it? Where does it get published? Where do you post it? Where do you send it? How do you display it? How do you make it work? So that's what I want to talk about today. And there are three main ways. Well, there are a lot of different ways, but all of them fall into three categories. That's going to be owned media, earned media, and paid media. So all of the content that we develop usually falls into one of those three categories, and all three are useful in their own way. So today, what we're going to do is take a look at those three: earned media, owned media, and paid media, and also kind of go over some use cases and discuss where it may be best to use one over the other, or it could be that we're going to use a combination. It really does come down to, before jumping into that, it really does come down to who your audience is and what your goals are. And I guess also what resources are available to you, but we'll get a little bit more into that. But with any kind of content marketing, and really any type of marketing in general, digital or otherwise, but particularly with content marketing, we need to know who our audience is, what resonates with them, and how are we speaking to those things through content, but then also what our goals are. Because if our goal is to convert more leads into customers, then we're going to probably take a very different approach than if our goal is to improve, brand awareness. So we're going to kind of cover some of that and look at maybe some specific use cases for the different types of media. So to start off with, the simplest one to really wrap your hands around is going to be owned media. So owned media is going to be any publishing platform, any outlet that you have or that your brand has complete control over. So that's going to include things like your website, social media profiles, any kind of email newsletter, your blog, anything like that you have or your brand has complete and total authority and control over what content gets published and how it gets published and when and where and all that kind of stuff. So next we have paid media, and as the name denotes, this is media that you pay for. So this is going to be things like ads, but with content marketing, one of the things that we focus on is what's called an advertorial. Okay, so that's a combination of obviously advertising and editorial. So these are things that get published on news sites, and the basic gist or the approach here with like an advertorial or native advertising, sometimes it's called, is that we're not promoting a product or service or necessarily even a brand in doing that. I mean, we are, but we're not. So I guess as an example, let's say your company sells floor cleaning products or something along those lines. So your floor cleaning product business writes up some content in an advertorial format, and then you approach the San Francisco Chronicle or something like that about publishing that on their website. They're going to charge you. You're going to pay to put that content out there, and the content is going to be, spring cleaning tips for your home or something like that. And one of those tips is going to include cleaning your floors, and one of the solutions within that is going to be your products. So once again, it's an advertisement, but it's presented in an editorial manner, but you are paying for it. And the thing with paid media is you have a lot less control compared to owned media, because once again, with owned media, that's like your website, your blog, your social media, stuff like that. Those are things that you have complete control over. You do have some control over paid media because you're paying for it and you get some say in that. However, the publisher, whoever that may be, whatever site that may be, also has control over the final layout and the editorial bent on it. So you can't just, well, I mean, I guess you can, but depending on the publisher. But by and large, they have, different publishers have different standards and stuff like that you have to abide by. So it's not like you can just publish whatever you want. And even if you pay, they're not necessarily going to take your money and publish whatever you want. They may have some guidelines that you have to adhere to with that too. And so not all content in a content marketing strategy is going to qualify for paid media opportunities. And so the last type of media on our list is going to be earned media. Now, earned media is generally the more challenging and usually is the most time consuming. Not so much developing the content, although that can be part of it. But earned media is, as once again the name suggests, it's media coverage that you earn by putting out relevant, helpful, useful content that other people will then want to share. So in a way, it's free advertising or free marketing and promotion, but the trade-off is the time investment involved in developing relationships with publishers. And, with earned media, this could be anything from, shares on social media. Someone likes a blog post that your brand wrote, and they share it on social media. That's earned media right there. But it could also be that you develop a relationship with another brand, kind of within your industry or your space, and they agree to let you post, a guest post on their website through, a guest blog or something like that. PR coverage for an event that's going on, that maybe a news publication writes about your brand or your involvement with that event. All of that is going to be earned media. But once again, so the time that it takes, because sometimes these relationships to really cultivate a meaningful relationship to where you're not just scattershot on like LinkedIn or something and just sending messages right away and saying, hey, will you publish my blog post, or I get this white paper, will you share it? It doesn't generally go down well when you try that approach. So it's cultivating those relationships with relevant partners in the same industry or in adjacent industries. That can take time. That can take weeks. That can take months. And the whole time you have to be searching for other people to try to reach out to at the same, as well. So, trying to get earned media can take a while. So what we always recommend is this is where it comes back to focus on the quality and the usefulness of your content. If you do that and you share your content and you encourage, your followers on social media to share your content as well, if it's useful and relevant, it will eventually get picked up. That doesn't mean that every single piece of content that you put out is going to get picked up and receive earned media coverage. But over time, with consistency, that will happen. All right, so now that we've covered what the three types of media are in content distribution, I want to kind of shift gears here and let's take a look at when is it appropriate to use each type or to go after each type. And actually to back up for a second. So using a mix of these three types of media, owned media, once again, your blog or your website content, your newsletter, you're always going to be you're always going to be utilizing that because once again it's your content, it's the content that you're putting out on your channel, so you maintain control of it. Earned media, because it takes time, but then also because you don't know who may or may not pick something up, that can be more of a sort of an opportunity type of situation. You can't necessarily plan for it. You can plan for it by putting out quality content consistently that people will find helpful and useful and will be share worthy. But you can't necessarily plan for a big time blogger with 100,000 readers stumbling across your resource center on your website saying, hey, I really like this content. I think my readers would like this too. I'm going to share it. That's great when things like that happen, but you can't necessarily plan for it. So with paid media, because you have more direct control over it, you can direct when and where and how it's going to be used. But one of the issues with paid media is this: there are so many ads out there right now on the web. People notoriously use ad blockers just to get away from ads. People notoriously close ads immediately, and I know I do this personally. I can't stand pop-up ads and things like that, but people are just inundated with ads. So, an ad is more an in your face way of approaching things, whereas with content marketing, usually, that's more the sales side of thing. The sales side of things, usually with content marketing, we want to go more of the advertorial route if we're going to be doing paid media, because that's a way to sell without selling. You're building brand awareness by taking that approach. You're getting it in a potential customer's mind that the product exists, the product is useful, and here's how you can use it. So now we're telling a story. We're putting practical, we're putting a practical spin on things. And so the next time they're looking for a product that does whatever your product does, they're going to think of you. At least that's the hope. And so with consistency, we can achieve that. But yeah, with paid media, if we're talking about things like pay-per-click ads and things, Facebook ads, YouTube ads, whatever, I don't know. It gets a little bit tricky with that because people are just inundated with ads. So I'm not personally a huge proponent of that. Ads are good for building brand awareness for sure, but what the ROI is on that, it can be kind of tricky. If you have a very large budget for paid media, yeah, I mean, it can be successful, but once again, I don't know that ROI is always going to be there. That would be something where we'd have to really kind of sit down and take a look at, once again, your goals, your audience, and what opportunities exist. So it's not something where, we can just say, oh yeah, throw some ads up and you're good to go. But what I typically recommend, just as a matter of course, is focusing more on the owned media and allowing that owned media to turn into earned media all at the same time while still pursuing earned media opportunities. And that goes back to what I was saying about building those relationships and, cultivating connections with other people in your industry or in adjacent orbiting industries, so that you have those connections kind of looking out for opportunities for you. And, the trade-off is you're going to want to, provide opportunities for them too. It's not just it's a give and take. It's not just a take. So be prepared for that as well. But working with your owned media and then trying to turn that into earned media opportunities, and then throwing in paid media where it makes sense. If you're going to go the paid media route, I would recommend the native advertising or the advertorial stuff over pay-per-click ads, things like that. The pay-per-click stuff, we don't mess with that at Charlotte Content Marketing. That's just that's not an avenue that we pursue. But it can be effective depending on what the product is, and this goes right back to what I said from the very beginning about your goals and your audience, but also what the product is and then what the platform is where you're advertising. But I feel like what I see right now is people are just absolutely fed up with ads. They do not care, and ads just get ignored left and right. I watch brands throw so much money at this stuff and they get such little payoff and they give up on it. But again, I'm not saying don't do paid ads, because they can definitely work for certain brands, certain products, certain audiences, certain goals. But that's not really something that we mess with all that much. We do create content for the advertorial type stuff, because that's really what is at the heart of content marketing. I mean, it's an inbound strategy. So we're putting out content that draws people in instead of going out and trying to sell to your face like an ad. We're taking the inbound approach. But anyway, I'm going on too long here, but so those are the three types of content: owned media, earned media, and paid media. They can work individually, but they typically work best when you're using a combination of strategies, and you're trying to go for the holistic approach, because there's not necessarily going to be one. There's not a silver bullet. I can tell you that right now. And everybody's needs are different. If you would like to discuss your needs in terms of content marketing, if you would like to explore more about the various types of media and content development and how we can help at Charlotte Content Marketing, feel free to get in touch with us. You can email us at hello@charlottecontentmarketing.com. You can also give us a call at 704-323-6762, and we'll be more than happy to set you up with a no obligation consultation where we can kind of just have an informal chat and just kind of learn a little bit about each other and what your goals are and how Charlotte Content Marketing can help you achieve those. So as always, I want to thank you so much for tuning in today, and I'll see you in the next one.